threw me off. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee and Cannoli podcast. Joined once again with Campo below me, Putty to my right, left, whatever he is, and Caps right below Putty. The four of us, once again, can only mean one thing. Once again, we're talking about wrestling. We are going to give our thoughts, our opinions on the most recent AEW podcast, or AEW pay-per-view, I should say. Let me correct myself. We've all watched it. This was actually Putty's first foray into AEW. He has never watched AEW before, so this was his first foray into it, and we will get his
mine
opinion.
kind of too.
Yeah, you just mostly watch clips, right?
Well, I watch like highlight matches. I've never really seen a whole thing.
Yeah, I've never seen a highlight match. The only thing I saw was the Sting talking to the Joey thing on YouTube. It wasn't even a match. It was
Sting talking to Joey Thing.
Yeah,
Joey Thing.
He's the AEW's most recent signing, Joey Thing.
Yeah, Joey Thing.
It's me. It's P-U-T.
P-U-T. The whole damn show over here.
Yeah.
So Putty, it's his first foray into AEW. Campo, you've kind of been dabbling into AEW here and there.
I know what's going on.
Yeah, and Caps, how long have you been with watching the AEW shows?
Well, the first pay-per-view I saw was the one that Daniel Bryanson.
Yeah.
Dude, wait till we get there.
Bryan Danielson debuted and Adam Cole. But I've seen a few shows before that. So yeah.
Like overall, what's your because we all have a long history. Everybody knows we've been watching wrestling since the 80s. Like it's in our blood.
Yeah, my overall opinion is that I think the quality of the matches are better. I'll just leave it at that. They still got a ways to go in terms of storytelling, but the quality of the matches are much better.
I agree with that. Even for me, because I don't watch a show and I really only watch matches. Like I said, I used to watch a lot of wrestling. This was the first actual pay-per-view event I've seen in 20 years for any wrestling thing. And
that's a long time.
Yeah, right. It was probably like 2002 was the last time I watched any wrestling really But I think the wrestling is at a special level, like at that mid to early WCW era where the wrestlers were actually good, but I don't really know what's going on with the storylines, but just from the little clips I see, I don't know if I like it. But I'm not hit,
we could probably indulge while talking about the pay-per-view because in terms of what Campos is saying, I kind of feel a little iffy just in terms of the pay-per-view.
I'll state this since since this literally was my first one thing. When I was jotting down notes and doing everything, I actually made little points and little notes of things like how I felt in between different matches, and I noticed something that other people might not notice, and that was that at least I could say if you are new to it, it was a lot easier to follow because there really wasn't any much in-depth storylines except a few times I don't things.
I agree with that too. I don't even feel like you really needed to see the storylines here. Where in WWE, I feel like you completely never know what's going on if you don't know the storylines.
I will say this though. I will say that there's some things I feel like because of other wrestling stuff I saw, it really helped me out in this as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
we'll get to that when we get to that point. Once we get to,
I think it also benefits by the story. Some of the storylines that they do have, like the first match of the night, which we'll get into right now, which was the Chris Jericho Eddie Kingston match. It was a very simple storyline where Jericho just kept teasing Eddie that he can't win the big match. Every time he has a big match, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Eddie Kingston, but everybody knows who Jericho is, clearly.
Yeah,
of course, yes.
But I'm not, but I know who Jericho is. I'm not. I don't know Eddie Kingston, but
I don't either.
I did know this storyline going in from watching the little clips that I usually watch on YouTube of AEW.
I don't know too much about Eddie Kingston's background, but from what I've seen, he can promo the out of a wrestling match. So it's funny because this match wasn't announced until maybe 2-3 weeks before.
Yeah, it was maybe 3 weeks prior to the pay-per-view. It was one of the last matches added to the card.
Yeah, and it was a funny thing because there was no build up to it. Well, maybe a
little bit.
Jericho's previous stable had some, some involvement around the build-up around this match. But I wasn't. I was not. I was like impartial in terms of wanting to see this match until those two got into the ring and just started talking. It's like, okay, well, they kind of.
Well, I mean, right off the bat, as soon as Kingston enters the ring, he grabs Jericho and he does that belly to back and he like drops him on his head. I thought he killed him right away.
And can I say something too? In normal wrestling, this happened a few times this night where I don't even know they meant to do it every time, but there was a lot of like, I guess you would call them botches. I don't know if you want to call them that, but they replayed it. And I was like,
they have a tendency to do that. Replay botches.
There was one where like, I'll probably remember it as we go through this, but someone did a move and they didn't even hit the person and they replayed it. I was like, what?
I think I've got that one jotted down, which see, here's the thing with this match. For me, I'll be honest with you, it felt very slow in the beginning. With me being new to what the new intro music and the influencer, using the name influencer Chris Jericho, it was like a new beat for me, but it felt like Chris Jericho. It still felt like him.
It's still him,
the match felt slow to me. Like I just couldn't get into it. Like I can still see that Chris Jericho still has wrestling maneuvers. It's not. I mean, he still has the techniques, but you can tell he's getting older. The major
dude is over 50.
Yeah, exactly. But see, the thing is, we're getting to another person that's around the same age that did way better stuff later on.
I will debate that as we go through this.
But here is my thing.
And sorry, guys, internet is freezing. You guys there? Hold on.
We are announcing who they won or winners.
Yeah, of course.
The way the match ended.
Right?
I think it's just the three of us.
Okay,
I'm still here. It's my internet's cutting out. Sorry, guys.
Okay, sorry. Putty, continue.
That stretched plum looks so horribly fake and bad that when I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, I could do that to myself and it wouldn't bother me or hurt me. Here's one thing. When you're watching someone do like an arm bar or things of that nature where they're trying to do something that looks like, okay, if you turn my arm in a certain way, it hurts. No matter how you look at that move, the way it is, it just looks so bad that when they got to it and he tapped out of it, Chris Jericho, I was like, dude, like I was lost out of it now. Like, I don't know who this wrestler is, but his wrestling finisher just is horrible.
He's more of a brawler. He normally doesn't do submission holds, and that's the thing.
Exactly.
I'm going to be honest with you, watching this match, so I'll just give you my quick review of it. I was pretty harsh on this, having seen a lot of wrestling, especially the way that now I've been watching a lot of the pay-per-views getting reviewed, and I'm watching that whole Nitro versus Raw thing. I'm on like week 35 already. Like I really am like tuned into wrestling at the moment. But I think there was some really good stuff here. There was a lot of shoots. The choice to slap each other to oblivion. I love that. Those chops. I don't care. This match was really good. This was a really good match. It wasn't overly long.
I get it, but
it didn't overstay its welcome. They proved their point.
It was a good opener. It was a great opening match.
That's exactly what it is.
He got his revenge. He got the comeback win. That's okay. My biggest issue with this match, and I'll tell you straight, this issue is going to come up a lot throughout this. The referee was so horrible. I don't understand the thing that she keeps doing where she puts her hand out to touch them on the head. And I don't get it. And it kept happening. And I was like, what's wrong with this person? None of the other referees did it. Why did she keep doing that? And I hate the way that referee is. Like, I don't care that it's a girl. I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. But I hate the character that she is. I hate it.
She's getting involved in the match when she shouldn't be getting involved.
She's talking to them. Like, what referee goes up and talks to them?
I noticed that with Jericho matches a lot. She always argues with Jericho in his matches. They always get into an argument.
The talking was too much. Like, if he's on the floor, what referee runs over and starts talking to the person?
Yeah. They need to be a little bit more subtle on that. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. It was a solid opener. And,
it got the crowd hyped. Like, I mean, that's
I think it was a good match.
Yeah. And I mean, Eddie Kingston's finisher is no different from MJF's armbar. But like I must say, Jericho's what, 50 now?
Yeah, Jericho's 50.
This guy got back into shape, eh?
Yeah. Jericho about 5-6 months ago was about 100 pounds heavier. So
yeah.
I mean, well, in fairness, Eddie Kingston is like a string bean with a big belly. So
yeah. But,
like I said, I know we're always going to have a different experience, but honestly, I'm sorry. I feel like it was the weakest match of the night.
We're going to have that a lot here. This is definitely not my weakest match.
Yeah,
I think.
Oh yeah, that's not my weakest match either. But with that being said, though, Eddie Kingston goes over clearly. But would you say with this match and the way Jericho's still performing, would you put Jericho in the top 5 all time?
No, but I would say if it was my personal list, he'd be in somewhere in my personal list for sure. Guys, personal list coming soon. Check it out, JD777.
Yeah, soon. But why do you think I threw it out there? Teaser.
Maybe top 10.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe.
I mean, to have the longevity, when Flair was his age, Flair was not doing what Jericho was doing.
No, and he looked great. This match looked really good for two older guys that weren't like super in shape, especially comparing to the rest of it. And it was what it was. It was a brawl.
It was a brawl. But I found there were too many of those on the show, though. Too many of the quote-unquote violent matches.
We will get into this as we progress. This is going to be a long one.
So as we go into the next match, it was Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express. First things first, Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy's theme. Can we not say that is the most over theme song?
I don't know, because I didn't know
how Jericho
get to it when we get there. No, but
Jericho's theme song is pretty over too.
Yeah, a lot of them have really over theme songs. Even what's his name, Eddie Kingston. They were all like, I don't know if they knew the words, but everyone was kind of like going with it.
Yeah,
there doesn't seem to be favorites in this. They cheer for the heels and for the faces. So it's just
they cheer for the quality.
AEW. It's about the wrestling.
Yeah,
the storylines don't really matter, and I appreciate that.
That's what I've always loved about wrestling. I hate the storylines; would always bother me. So I'm going to say this right now. Remember, I told you that I was writing out everything. This match right here had the longest typing of writing.
Jesus, I don't want to hear any of it.
Well, okay, let's get right into it then, Putty. What were your thoughts on this match?
Okay, so first and foremost, when
are you familiar with any of these tag teams?
No, not at all. Remember, so when Young Bucks came in, first and foremost, this is what I wrote. I said, these are pretty boys, not my cup of tea. Just did not like the Young Bucks when they saw them come out, okay? That's not against the wrestling, just the way they looked. Red Dragon was where I was on the fence. They had a better intro in my eyes than of course, them. Then, of course, Jurassic Express comes out. Now, here's the thing. I actually had nothing about it, but I heard you guys, and the music kicks in, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this. But I felt like there was maybe more when they do the other shows. Like, they just kind of walked in more than this one than the other one. Like, I feel like maybe the hype wasn't there until the match started. Now, here was the whole thing when it came to the other thing. I didn't understand how this whole thing with 3 teams and then 2 teams tagged in.
I didn't like that right off the bat.
Okay, so let's before we go on to that, then let's give you a little bit of history. Back in New Japan, Red Dragon and the Young Bucks were all members of the Bullet Club. So they were all teammates at one point. So now in AEW, where they're all coming back with Kenny Omega, the Bucks, Red Dragon, and Adam Cole, who are all part of the Bullet Club. Cole was the one who actually knocked Omega out of the Bullet Club and took over for a while before he went to WWE. So that's where the history with these 2 tag teams come in. And then Jurassic Express. So it's basically what they were trying to play on was a 4 against 2 kind of thing.
Yeah, but I don't like the element. They did team up the whole time, which is fine because, like you said, that's kind of what was going to happen. But I would have preferred one member from each team always in the ring, like a 3-way, because it made the match really awkward. And in my opinion, there was far too much going on. As good as some of the moves were and some of the spots were, there was too much going on, and it made me not want to watch the match because I was like, there's so much happening. I don't know what the hell's going on. But the spots were, listen, I'm going to say one thing and Putty can say whatever he wants.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Shooting star press on O'Reilly. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yes.
Yeah, that was so good.
I don't even know how he was able to, with the little tiny amount of space he had, and Luchasaurus not even looking, was able to hit that.
Luchasaurus, let's just say, for a big dude, he is limber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even the standing moonsault.
I don't like his choke slams. They look really floppy. They remind me of early Big Shows in
WCW
choke slams. That it doesn't even look like he's lifting you. He's kind of just like throwing
they jump.
Away. Yeah.
Well, see, like, for example, the moment where both members of Red Dragon actually had Jungle Boy in the corner, and they did that. I can't even explain it. They did that systematic thing where they both threw like flipped around and threw him on the ground. Like it was just so.
Yeah,
it was like a dance.
You can tell they've been a tag team for a very long time.
The Jungle Boy thing where he went off the ropes. And he ran across the ropes, and he did like that was I don't even know what those things are called, man. Those there's
so many times those things kind of happen. Like for example, I have here, the Luchasaurus one hand slam from the top rope was so nice, where he like grabbed him and then slammed him from the top rope.
Yeah.
There was so many times, like for example, that like my notes are everywhere here. There was a multiple pin transition at one point with all three teams where they kept going backwards and forth. That like everything about this match and what made me so excited about is each time there were so many impressive moves where they were like coordinated with each other to make it look like it was all by accident. But
and you actually believed some of the near falls.
The actual wrestling was fantastic.
Yes.
It's arguably one of the better matches. Bobby Fish got kind of annoying to me because you could hear him screaming the whole time. That's another thing that we'll get to as this pay-per-view goes along, but the mic up work in the ring was too much for me. It sounded like when WWE was working out of the empty the training facility where you can hear everything they're saying, and it got kind of annoying. Like he never shut up, and I was like, I can hear everything, right? Because I had it loud, and I know he's trying to be annoying to them, but it's
but you could also tell that Bobby Fish is also the most, I guess, would you say, experienced? So he's pretty much the general in the ring.
Character. Yeah, I just it got to the point where it's like, okay, we get it. You're kind of heelish. Just shut up now. Like nonstop.
Yeah, for me, it's when it comes to the Young Bucks, it just proves time and time again that they will always put one of the best matches.
Yeah, you'll always get a good match from the Bucks.
But what was it? Red Dragon? What are they called again?
Yeah,
Red Dragon. Yeah,
they were really good too, man. I think Luchasaurus was the odd man out here, but he still did what he could to fit into this match, and I like that. And
pretty much it was the Jungle Boy show. They really spotlight on him and showed like this kid is going to be a star. Like I really think so.
He did some moves, like I said, that I've never seen before.
Yeah, and Putty, do you know he's Luke Perry's son?
No way, really?
Yep.
Wait, Jungle Boy?
Jungle Boy is the late Luke Perry's son.
Crazy. He doesn't look anything like him now that I think about it.
He does a little bit.
No,
you can
he does, man.
He does.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he pulls the hair back.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I wasn't paying attention or even thinking.
It's hard during a match. It's hard during a match.
And like I said, go on, Putty.
Well, no, I was going to say, well, see, here, we were talking about the whole thing with the confusing part about the whole tagging in, tagging out. And see, you had said that the two, Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, again, anyway, that they have like a pass together. So they were kind of coordinating to work together. But here's my thing. If you don't have that in a three-way thing like this scenario, how is somebody going to get in? And then I finally saw that later where one of the Red Dragons slapped the back of Jungle Boy's back to get in to the match. And I was like, okay, so there is ways to get into it and do a blind tag to still get in as long as there's someone that's legal in there. And that's where I was like, okay, I can understand how this works a little bit now. It's not as confusing. But again, like I said, I got so many notes here that I was just talking about, like, for example, I'm trying to look for it right now and I can't find it, but there was something in there that I said like it was a plot hole. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember where it is. I can't find it. But anyway, but my point to the whole thing is outside of the one thing that I nitpicked on there, this was like a fluid match that it's been a while since I've seen anything like this in wrestling.
If you enjoyed it, go back and watch other Young Buck matches. You can
find them on YouTube.
Yeah, you'll find so many.
But let me ask you this though: is Young Buck just good at because the thing is, I wasn't impressed by Young Buck as far as like the wrestling moves. I felt like the other two are better.
No, they are a great team.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
guess maybe the whole look.
It's basically like having two Shawn Michaels working together.
Yeah, guys, honestly, like they're one of the best teams.
They're a throwback tag team to the eras of the 90s when tag
like the
teams
Rockers,
were
that
only
kind of
tag teams when they didn't do anything except tag team. You know what I mean? Like LOD, like there was no they weren't about singles.
I would say the closest comparison would be like the Rockers, right?
But like ability wise,
yeah.
I guess it was clouded because I just didn't like the personalities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. They're supposed to be.
There's a lot of these people I don't like as personalities, but I mean,
they're great performers.
This is for the wrestling.
And Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, they go over as they should. For let's spoil it for you guys. The other night on Dynamite, Jeff Hardy appeared.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy has been reunited with Jeff Hardy now and Matt Hardy are being reunited, so I think this may be setting up a Jurassic Express versus the Hardys match.
Matt Hardy just re-signed as well.
Yeah,
for an extension. So
nice. I think that's where the tag belts are gonna, like, that's where that feud is gonna flow into. It's gonna be the Hardys versus Jurassic Express. The Hardys need to win because the Hardys have won every tag championship.
Well, Matt Hardy is gonna come into this later, and I have some opinions, but good match.
Yeah. Next match was the ladder match. Wardlow versus Christian Cage versus Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks.
All right, I'm taking this first. First thing I'm going to show you is this. Second thing,
not one of these.
No, I absolutely hated the Orange Cassidy Adam Cole thing. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Because I love his gimmick, and now that I've finally heard his theme song, I'm like, I love it even more because I totally get it now.
Because
I totally get it.
The Pixies.
I just couldn't stand how it was every time I watch it. It was him and Adam Cole fighting, and I just got tired of it. But he does that one move where he pulled himself up onto the ladder.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
But overall, this match was a big match.
Yeah, he did the skin the cat on the ladder and almost grabbed the Sonic ring there.
Yeah,
Speaking of Orange Cassidy, I knew the second that he got tossed over the top rope that he was injured.
He is. It is officially announced that he's going to be out for a little bit.
There is more than one occasion of this happening on this night, and I will get to that when we get there.
Well, let's put it this way. With Orange Cassidy, when I saw him, I was like, first off, it overtook me. It was like overwhelming, at first, you know what I mean? Then I realized, okay, he's basically like just a rag doll body that they can use to throw around. He could leap around like a.
He's pretty over.
It's
very over.
Yeah, it's theatrics. But anyway, the things that surprised me, like for example, this match was like probably the second least. No, I don't know. It will get to another one. But anyway.
It's not that the things that happen again. Like I agree with Putty. It's not the things that happen were bad. There was just so much going on at once that it took away from the storyline. Yeah. Right. And then like Christian became a non-factor for the whole match, and so did Orange Cassidy. And then it was just like what's
they were there to be ragdoll by those three powerhouses that were in there.
And see, like Keith Lee, he impressed me so much when he did that.
Good. Yeah. I never knew he was that good.
Like that, this is the big guy like that. When I saw him, oh my god!
And he's agile, and he's like, and that you could tell the story is gonna be Keith Lee versus Hobbs, just these two big hosses against each other.
But then there's like points, for example, like when Ricky Starks like did that the modified power bomb onto the ladder, but then also there's the one where he actually goes through the ladder and does that I'm forgetting the name of it, the lunge for Goldberg does it, and I can't even think of it right now. The spear. Thank you. When he did the spear straight to the ladder, those are the kind of things I was like, this is what I need to see if I'm going to come back into wrestling in any way.
Something innovative.
Yes, and those minimal low times made me like those kind of things, but then it slowed down. Like I'll admit, Orange Cassidy was annoying, but at least I will say he kind of in moments made me go, "Whoa, what's he doing?"
The match was way too long.
And it was.
And I didn't like the over reliance on comedy. Like I didn't get it. Like I understand.
Yeah, it was different. It was different characters that didn't mesh well together.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't. If it was just Orange Cassidy, I get it. But everyone seemed to be going for this comedy thing for a bit, and I was like, I don't understand it. And then, Ricky Starks is like a John Cena knockoff.
I say he looks more like a young Rock.
I mean, I guess, but I'm not like in wrestling, but like his character is just kind of like, even with the way he came out, and 100% talking about the injury thing, Starks 100% got hurt on his landing on the ladder when he got powerbombed. He landed right on his neck.
There's two injuries that came out of this match because you have these three big, like they're three big dudes in this. Like you're putting them up against, like, I get it, the whole David and Goliath story, but I didn't think that worked. Like ladder matches, like.
That's
the history of ladder matches. It's more, you have usually the one big guy in a ladder match.
I will say this though, and there was some moments, like for example, earlier I didn't get to bring this up. When the Chris Jericho match, I was happy to hear Jim Ross say slobber knocker because I haven't heard it for years. But
or uglier than a bowling shoe.
Yeah, exactly. But there's one line that Taz said here. He said, "Can we get a spatula for Orange Cassidy when he's flattened from the ladder from the turnbuckle?" That line right there, I should have started laughing my ass off. And those are, even though Taz may not be the greatest announcer, those are the moments that Taz
he has those little. But Taz works better when he's not the lead announcer. He's just kind of like the color guy.
Taz, JR, and
Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur.
Yeah, no, but you don't even need Excalibur. The fact that you have him is only bonus on top of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like normally, the 4-man booth doesn't work.
And I love the question later that was, what's the difference between a Liger bomb and a power bomb? And he says it. He's like, I was just testing you.
I was just testing you. That was so great.
Oh, that was really good.
Because I was so confused when Jim Ross was asking that. I'm like, why is Jim Ross asking that? He's like, I'm just testing you. I'm like,
for the fans.
Go ahead, Caps.
No, there was just. I mean, I know we see Orange Cassidy do it all the time, the shin kicks, but there was this one moment where like the three big guys were in the ring, and all of a sudden Cassidy comes in, does the shin kicks, and it got a little bit of a.
I got a chuckle at it. Yeah,
that part was amazing, but I didn't like the way he escaped. It was like, how did they not get him? Like, he just got out of it.
Are you talking about Dan Housing? Is that his name?
No.
There's more.
No, when Orange Cassidy went into the ring and the three
and if you ever say Danhausen's name wrong again, he's literally my favorite wrestler in the whole.
No, you have to understand. I didn't know he was. When I literally was watching it. All of a sudden, I just heard them say the name, so I thought that's what it said.
Yeah, no, go look up Danhausen.
Danhausen. His YouTube channel is really good, man.
But all I know is he ran in, interferes, and then runs out, and he's got like a mind. I had no idea who he was. So for me, being new to AEW, I was like, who the hell is this random guy that just ran in and left?
He was like the biggest free agent for a little bit there.
Yeah, believe it or not, like so.
Well, because his character. I
don't know too much about him.
Yeah, he was a lot. He was like, go watch some. Like he most recently was in Ring of Honor, and that's where his real big like. You're gonna say something.
Well, no, I was going to say just.
I thought you guys all freeze.
Well, no, I was trying not to interrupt you. But I was going to say the thing is I'm realizing that a lot of people don't realize what I'm talking about, or that could be watching. Understand, there was literally a guy that just randomly came into the match, did one thing, and then left, and I had no idea. And they said, "Did that?" Well, again, I feel like I'm butchering it.
And the way he did it, and what he did was so irrelevant that we were just like,
it didn't make any difference.
Yeah. But see, someone that never watched, I'm sitting there like, what the hell just happened? This is like a drive-by of like a.
It was a drive-by fruiting from Mrs. Doubtfire.
No, but it for Putty, it was something like a random fan that enters the ring and with face paint.
So I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then they said his name, and I'm like, oh, so they know who he is. And I'm like, what the hell did I just witness?
Yeah, he's been there for what, a couple months, right? Right, Campo?
I think like 1 month.
A month or so,
maybe a little bit more. Like he's not just over to wrestling fans, he's over on the internet. Like he's big on YouTube.
He is. He's totally well, at the end there, Wardlow wins. What'd you guys think of Wardlow winning?
I didn't.
We'll get back to that later.
I don't think he's a good or bad wrestler. I'm not judging him on his skill. I just don't care. He's like, I don't care about
my
him.
Personal opinion was you bring in this big free agent, not just size wise, but like name wise, in Keith Lee. I think Keith Lee was the one who should have won that.
I agree with you on that. See, here's my thing.
I agree, especially when there's rumors that Wardlow's trying to get taken away by WWE.
Well, see, when I heard,
I think this is the reason why they had him win.
Yeah.
Well, here's my thing. When he won, as being a new person to AEW, I was like, who is this? And then all of a sudden, something happened later, and I go, now I have a little bit more interest based on this because I put the two and two
which we'll
together,
get to one of the next matches later, and we'll talk about that then too.
But I will say, I will say that I do agree with you guys. Keith Lee should have won because Wardlow, win or lose, is already involved in another storyline, and
he's already over too.
Yeah,
and I get it. This is, you could see the makings of a face turn over here from a heel, which we'll get once we get in later.
We'll point of this,
which we'll get into on one of the next matches. Yeah.
But the thing with AEW, the last thing I'll say about this, it doesn't seem to matter if you're a face or a heel anyway. So the heel turn doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, if you're over with the crowd, you're over with the crowd. They appreciate the talent instead of the character.
Mm-hmm. Can I intro the next match?
Sure.
Oh, come on, I want to do this.
Okay,
no, Campo has to do it only because of one reason.
Oh, but you know why for me, don't you?
Ty Conti and Jade. I don't remember what her last name is.
Cargill.
My number one note here is like this match was so telegraphed. You saw every single thing coming that was going to happen.
I thought you were going to talk about the person who walked in with Ty Conti.
Oh, Anna Jay. But I'm more of a Ty Conti fan myself. But
I'm cool with both.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so like there was a bunch of hot ladies here. Even Jade, who I've never seen before. Jesus Christ. But and Jade, by the way, is a very good wrestler. She is. The power that she has is.
But the thing is, she's still a little green. She's still new. She's still
her power levels are fantastic.
And she even was wearing the Jade costume from Mortal Kombat. That's what Putty.
No, Putty, no, you're not getting to talk because you're just going to talk about.
But go.
I just want to get all of this out, and then we can talk about this match. It was so telegraphed. It looked like they were still doing it as if it was a rehearsal.
Because Jade is still new to the business. She's only been doing this for 2 years.
Conti's so skilled, so crazy skilled, but she's so goddamn weak. Nothing looks realistic. She bounces off the ropes, and the ropes don't even move. It reminds you of Nikki ASH. She does kicks, and it looks like you could take that kick full power in the face and laugh at her.
Yeah, because when Jade kicked Anna Jay out in Anna Jay flew.
Did you see that? Even the chair shot that Anna Jay gave her was like, holy crap. But then you see them, and at the end of the day, this match was an early match on a weekly show. This did not deserve a pay-per-view attention. It was an embarrassment that what this is? Part of this show.
This is basically the Goldberg run at the beginning of Goldberg's run.
Oh.
Yes, where he literally couldn't wrestle at all.
Yeah, and I think that's why I say Jade Cargill, the potential is there, and I can see it. But there's going to be something special about her.
When
she's been doing it for a while, right?
Yeah,
only a couple years.
No, but she does look good in the ring. I think it was her stuff that she did on her own. Her solo spots were fantastic. Anytime that the two of them had to link up and like arm reverse, it was like, hold on, it's your turn now. Okay. And that's going to happen again later. I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot more controversial. But
I think Campos hit the nail on the head. This should have been a TV main event.
This should have been I would have rather had, like, I don't know if you guys watched the pre-show, but I would have rather had this on the pre-show and put the Hook QT Marshall match on the
Hook is so over. I want to watch Hook. I want to.
But that's the thing, because this was the halfway point of the show, so you needed that kind of like palate cleanser. So if you had that Hook QT Marshall in the middle of the show just to clean the palate, just to have Hook go over in like 2 minutes, whatever it was, 5 minutes, whatever he
and. I think exactly what you said adds to a point that I'll just say now. From here on out, there's just this kind of lull, even with the crowd, that it just died out.
It was a 4-hour show.
Yes, and I at this point I started suffering major fatigue, and in the next match, it was pushed to my limit. Like I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but because after this, there's still 4 matches to go.
Yeah, and this match wasn't long. So
no,
I'm not going to
it didn't need to be.
But it took us from like a good match to a better match to like, yeah, this was okay, to like, why am I watching this? And now I'm kind of just like, okay, I still have half.
Yeah, I'll like, all honesty, because the night it was on, I think we were recording, right, Campo?
Yeah.
And after we recorded, I watched the main event and I fell asleep. Like I had to watch the main event the next day because I honestly fell asleep during it. I suffered from that fatigue.
I started watching this at like 7:00 and it ended for me at like 11 when I was watching it, almost 12 o'clock, like just before 12.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to talk about this match anymore.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Jade Cargill wins, but go ahead, Putty.
I was going to say, I literally get nothing to say on this one. Listen, this was eye candy for me. I was new to this. I didn't know who either one was. Jade pretty much made me interested because she did appeal to me. You know what I mean?
Because she dressed in a Mortal Kombat.
Exactly. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with you guys.
But you're the audience.
Yes, exactly.
That's you're the audience.
That was what the audience is for. The only thing that made me, I had to jot down, like everything else is like, Jade, I'm a fan now. Yay. She's awesome. She's hot. And she looked good in an outfit. Then, but the other thing, I agree. And Anna, or was it Anna Jay? She is hot. But right beside Anna Jay, I saw who was new. Is -1 a kid? What the hell is that -1?
-1 is Brody Lee's son.
Right? Brody Lee's son. Remember Luke Harper in WWE?
Oh, that is weird. That just came out weird. Like the way that
because he died, and so now they're all like the son was close with a lot of the wrestlers behind the scenes. So
yeah, and this kid, I think they gave him a lifetime contract with the company or something like that. Like
now he works with those two, and
and he's like this kid is going to be paid by AEW for the rest of his life, whether he does anything or not.
They dropped the ringside exclusive with Brody Lee and him as a figure set. It's
yes,
cool.
I saw that you sent me that. I already put my pre-order in for that.
But you see why I had to question it, because me coming in for the first time, I see Jade Cargill and I'm like, oh my god, it's amazing. I see this other person, don't know about her, and then this random kid that
but he's -1, the -1. Get it?
Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
It took me actually a bit to figure that out.
Yeah, because every member of the Dark Order, there's Evil Uno, there's like 5s, there's 10, whatever. Like there's different. They're all like different.
Okay.
Go watch. Go watch the YouTube show Being the Elite when any of the Dark Order members are on. It's bloody hilarious.
Yeah, they're pretty funny.
Did you watch the one with the spider?
Yes. There's a few good ones actually.
Yeah, but go watch Being the Elite. Sorry,
that guy. What's his name? Silver. John Silver.
Johnny Silver.
Man.
Johnny Hungy.
He's hilarious.
He looks like my brother Fab.
He does. I never even thought of that.
Totally looks like him. But at least Putty. We know Putty enjoyed this match.
But it wasn't even based on the match. It was just fandom, and she looked good in it, and I would not turn her down. That's all I'm saying. Anyway,
you wouldn't have a chance anyway.
How good the wrestling the women's division is.
Yeah, which we'll get into the match.
Was a disappointment.
Yeah, which the later match we'll get into, which was pretty high up there. But Jade Cargill goes over. They're doing the Goldberg streak with this. It's clearly what they're doing with her.
Hey, it works for me. I was already a Goldberg fan. Now I'm
right. So now you're a Jade Cargill fan.
There you go.
So as we move into the next match, it's CM Punk versus MJF in the dog collar match.
I got so much to say about
brutal. That's all I got to say about this one.
Yeah,
it was
was way too long. It almost put me to sleep. I was struggling to stay awake.
All right, let me say this. This is a prime example. Earlier during the pre-show, I had mentioned something about something I saw, and I go, this is cool. I don't think WWE's ever done this. And I forgot about it until we got to this match when I started getting bored. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's there. And that is the turnbuckle camera. I'd never seen that before with WWE. I saw it earlier in the pre-show, but then I totally forgot about it until they did it in this show. And literally it was the only thing that kind of woke me up. Like I was getting bored because it was so long. And then I saw the camera and I go, oh, I forgot about that. Let me type that down. And that was sad to me because I was like, I'm literally just typing stuff out because everything else is just either frustrating me or I'm just feeling like I have to write stuff just because like, oh, CM Punk is bleeding now. And I was like, okay, are they doing what WWE used to do? Is it going to be hardcore like that? And then of course we go to something later on and I'm like, frick, this is going to be common.
Yeah,
you know
this was, I get they wanted to put blood in this. Obviously CM Punk didn't realize how much he was going to bleed. I don't think they meant for that to happen because it made the match look way more hardcore.
Did he blade though, or didn't he blade?
That's
he definitely bladed.
Well, see, the thing,
he's been known to. That's why he has the tape up.
The tape,
put the blades in it.
But see, that's what I was wondering. Like later on, we get into another one, and I didn't know because it happened again. So I didn't know if there was actually any blading involved.
Well, we'll get into those as we get there. But like I said, this one, I don't think he meant to bleed that much because it made everything look so much worse than it was because nothing was happening. I'll give you credit for this. Me and Caps talked about this on the side. I think the use of the tax was great because it was constantly like, and then when it finally happened, it was like, hit, and I was like, whoa.
They really drove it in, literally.
Yeah.
But can I just say, I'm just going to call him MJ. I've got the full name here, but honestly, the whole thing where he brought the mic in, that actually bothered me. Like, I don't know why it bothered me so much, but I did not like it. Like, I understand they're trying to bring chemistry and something different. Like, that doesn't always happen mid-match for someone to grab a mic.
The mic in the ring brought back shades of Mick Foley, The Rock. Do you quit? Do you quit? Those 12 share shots to the head.
But that makes sense. Here was just he was just talking crap to him, and I'm like, dude, you literally were frightened at the beginning of this match when it literally started. You were afraid of CM Punk, and now you're talking crap. It's like, dude, it doesn't.
But he's that typical chicken shit heel. Like
until he starts.
That's what makes it not work for me. It's not that he's not a good worker in the ring, or
he's a great. He's a better talker, but
But they don't work together. Even I don't think that's a problem. The problem is that because his character's a chicken shit. it's not fun to watch this because it's like you tied him to him so he can't run away. I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's like when CM Punk had him, he didn't even really do anything to him.
See, I like the dog collar match. I never heard about it before until last night, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds cool. I've never heard of this."
Couple.
Well, I mean, again, I haven't seen it, and the thing is like I saw it, I said, "This is a cool idea," but then I will say, after halfway through, I was like, "I'm really kind of getting bored of this." Like, I thought
it was what over. It was like 17 minutes. Like it was a long. No, it was like 25 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was like a good chunk of the show. Like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's all they should have given them.
I'm going to say this. I got up and went to the bathroom, and when I came back, they were still in the same place. Nothing happened.
I actually wrote down the one point that really lost momentum for me was when CM Punk injured his knee on the steps.
He actually got hurt.
And that's the funny thing. It didn't seem like it, but I'm like, dude, that just took me out.
I know he played it up with like some of the movesets, and it was probably they did that whole thing to do that, but you could see that he actually hurt himself when he got hurt.
Yeah. And you could see his ring style adjusted slightly after that.
Yeah, 100%. And this is how you can tell when someone's really hurt, when the spot's already over and they still keep like slightly when they're supposed to be knocked out and they keep like trying to touch themselves.
Well, that's the thing. Did he even attempt a GTS?
No, I don't think so.
No, he won the match with the Anaconda Vice, right?
Yeah.
Normally that's, normally. Like I thought if he ended with the Anaconda Vice, I thought he was going to wrap the chain and do the Anaconda Vice, but that didn't even come into factor.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that did come into factor was the guy who won the face of the Revolution, Wardlow, when he came in with the ring.
Well, see, here's my thing. We're gonna get to something
too. Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, we're gonna get to something later on. Like one point during one of the matches, one of the really big matches, like a lot of people. There was one point where it looked like someone really actually like injured them pretty badly. Like it just seemed like a moment where no matter how hard or small you put someone against that injury, you're gonna get hurt no matter what. You know what I mean? And it was one of the bigger matches later on with not bigger stars, but ones I know, I should say. But so that's the reason why I guess in that point when it came to CM Punk and the knee thing, it just didn't look as like he actually got hurt as much, except for again later on more shows that I feel like I saw way more injuries, if that makes sense.
But I think from watching all the review type wrestling things that I've seen now, plus having watched as much wrestling as I have, and having seen a lot of real ECW in its prime, now watching this at this place where I am currently, you can actually tell when something's a spot and when something's a work and when something's for real, easily. It's not hard to tell. Like,
Putty, do yourself a favor, go watch the CM Punk Raven dog collar match from Ring of Honor.
Well, see, I'm familiar with it. Like, what's his name? Oh my God, I'm forgetting. It's the old guy that was part of ECW that always had the bandana on. Like he continued to wrestle.
Sabu.
Like
Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, Rob Van Dam.
No, he was like
Sabu.
Old. Am I missing? No, what the fuck is his name now? Yeah, like he was friends with Mick Foley, I think.
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk.
Thank you. I couldn't think of Terry Funk's name.
Forever.
Chainsaw Charlie.
But Terry Funk's a prime example of when I used to see. He used to do just that. Like he was one of those types that literally would be just like Mick Foley, would literally put his body through damage and
right. Like, and that's something he didn't do until later. When he was in his early days of wrestling, Terry Funk was a great technical wrestler.
But do you see what I'm saying though? When he got older, he was just like, I'm just going to take damage. And when I remember, and that's the reason why I said old guy, because the thing is that's
how you remember him.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's true. You know what I mean?
But you can see that in a wrestler's eyes when someone's really hurt. Like we talked about this before with the cage match. When Mick Foley was hurt, he knew Mick Foley was hurt.
Yeah,
that's why he wasn't in the ring. That wasn't a work. That was 100% him. Like, holy crap, this guy's gonna die right now.
I gotta get in there, and then he gets chokeslammed, and his shoes come flying.
Yo, his shoes came off.
God, I love that.
Well, yeah, okay, I don't know.
But yeah, it was. I was expecting more. I'll admit it. CM Punk has always he's been one of my favorite wrestlers of the modern era, but this did not do it for me.
I've never been a big fan, and this continues my not being a fan.
The first match between the two of them was much better than this one.
Yes, I agree.
For me personally, this was the match that started to become very boring. Like it really
this
took.
Was
the
the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, this was starting to drag.
And it seems as though that this match was more storyline rather than putting on a good match.
100%.
I think there was about more or less putting Wardlow over and
I think that's exactly what it was for. It was to put Wardlow over. Now he's a full-on baby face. And what happens on Dynamite next, like the episode of Dynamite where Sammy Guevara lost the TNT Championship to Scorpio Sky, it sets up now a babyface Wardlow versus a heel Scorpio Sky.
So this is sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, like, I did chuckle a little bit because, like, you're kind of limited as to what you can do with dog collar match. But it was funny because I just remember one point where CM Punk was like on the outside portion of the ring, and MJF wanted to go out there, but the chain was underneath.
I remember that.
And then he wanted to go through the rope, and then he had to figure out.
And it started getting tangled. So like they both had to kind of go through at the same time.
I was like, that got a bit of a chuckle out of me. But honestly, this match was. You know what? I have to say this. I seen online that a lot of people were saying that this is probably one of the best match of the night. I just couldn't figure that out
because of the blood. That's what I was saying.
It
adds an element.
People just want violence.
Exist.
Yeah, I understand that, but then the attacks were not necessary. Like, how much more are you gonna actually add into this match? You're already doing a dog collar match. You need you need attacks as well.
And that's the thing too. The dog collar match is not something that we see all the time. Like, usually these feuds end in a cage match or something, right? And cage matches are overdone. Like, we've seen too many of them.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like the idea of a dog collar match, was because it's something that we don't see that often. But then when he brought the tax out, I'm like, meh.
But listen, this is. I mean, since I did have still again fresh eyes, not even knowing that the dog collar match even existed, I was excited to see what this was going to be all about, and I got excited. Then, like I said, the momentum changed for me. And it's funny when Wardlow, or if I'm saying this right, the Wardlow came out. Literally, I was like, "Why? Okay, that guy. That's the guy I saw earlier. Why did he come out?" And then they did that whole ring thing, and what made me really actually frustrated about it was, like, as someone that's new, everything was way too obvious that you can't fit into it. Like, the whole thing of like, like they
telegraphed it.
Yeah, and because it was so telegraphed, no matter what, and then all of a sudden he pulled the ring to give it to Matt Hardy. For some reason in my head, I'm like, watch, he's going to give it to Matt Hardy. Like, I played that in my head.
Matt Hardy was in this match.
I'm not Matt Hardy.
MJF.
Sorry, MJF. Sorry, not MJF. But I was CM Punk. Sorry, CM Punk.
Yeah, but he was MJF's bodyguard basically, but he was crapped on.
But no, I get that. Like, the way I put it on my head is when he was looking for the ring, I realized in my head, I said, he's done this before. He regularly comes out, brings him a ring so he can cheat and then win. So then when he did that, I was like, wait a second, this is like a story arc. This is definitely a story arc. But then when he was looking, he couldn't find it, and I noticed that CM Punk capitalized, and then all of a sudden CM Punk's looking at him. I'm like, he's gonna have the ring. And all of a sudden he pulled the ring out, and I was like, okay, that makes me kind of mad, because for me as a new watcher to predict this took me out of the element. And that's what I hate when they try to do story elements in wrestling, is because they do it like it's a soap opera. And
they're going to riff. They're going to riff.
That was going to happen anyway, though.
Yeah, like, I don't know this.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, this was going to happen. And I think as a fan or a person that has watched AEW for a while, I think we all knew that
it was the anticipation
event
was when it was going to happen.
Yeah, it was when it was going to happen.
I think this rift is for me going forward. I think the rift was meant to happen, and what they want to do is you're going to get a tag team match between CM Punk and Wardlow against MJF and somebody else. Is what I think.
Probably most likely, what's his name? Because he's in the Sean Spears, from the Pinnacle.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I think that this is going to cause for a trilogy, one more match between Punk and MJF to
with no Wardlow.
Yeah.
Well, I know we want to continue on, but I just want to state the reason I'm bringing that up is because I think what's happening here is because you guys have that element of like, this anticipation. For me going into it, because it felt so artificial, that now I'm not as invested as you guys are, and I think that's the problem, is when you want to introduce new people to a storyline, you kind of still have to give it some realism, and to be over exaggerated with that, it felt so out of the element. And I think that's because I don't have the other part. So that's why I can't explain how I'm feeling, because I know where you guys are at, because I've done it in other wrestling, WWE, all that kind of stuff.
Obviously.
So that's why I can't explain it on the other end. Now I understand how other people are like, dude, wrestling's stupid. And it's because I understand you haven't been involved in it like I have. And now how I know how they feel. Does that make sense now?
Can we get the hell away from this match already?
Yes. CM Punk wins by pinfall.
Yeah.
Done. Over. Next match, Britt Baker, DMD with Jamie Hayter, Rebel against Thunder Rosa.
Okay, I need to clarify. Something. So Campos asked me about this match a couple nights ago.
Okay.
And we
were secretly talking behind your back.
I said it was okay. And Campos just like, oh my God, like this is like the worst match of the night. Campos, what I was trying to say was, it was okay.
It was okay.
No, I wasn't responding to the way you said it. I was just telling you my opinion.
No, but I just
I'm gonna be real with you. This is where I was saying before that people are gonna, my criticism of this match is gonna be like where people get upset. But I think Thunder Rosa was fantastic.
Yes.
I think Britt Baker was hilariously bad. Yeah. And she's supposed to be the top woman in their whole thing.
The thing is, was it about Caps about a year ago? Was it now? They had this phenomenal lights out match.
Is it the one where she bled like crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a great match that to live up to that match that these two had, nothing's going to live up to that anymore.
But I think her character and the way that she wrestles in that storyline with those elements is amazing. I think she works very well. And I don't think she's a bad wrestler, but like on top of the fatigue, this is where the fatigue of the fans kicked in and there was no noise for this whole match.
Yeah, it was a quiet match.
Silent. And these are two huge names. And
they're talented women.
But this is the thing. Thunder Rosa's game is so fast, and Britt Baker doesn't wrestle like that. So it was like watching Eddie Guerrero versus like Hulk Hogan. And and I mean that in every way, because she's a big character.
Now. I want to see that in heaven.
But she's like a big character,
like
a Hogan. Like she's a huge heel. And Eddie Guerrero, and that's why I see Thunder Rosa's work is like early WCW stuff from like Chris Benoit. She was going so fast and she was setting up all these spots where Britt Baker couldn't keep up with her. Their little arm drag things that they were doing, Britt Baker had to, every time Britt Baker reversed something, she had to pause, wait, and then do it. Where it looked like Thunder Rosa had to stop herself in motion and be like, okay, now hurry up. What are you doing? Hurry up. Like those little reversal pins they were doing.
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa would flip it and then you'd have to wait
for Britt Baker to catch up.
To catch up. And
I mean, you could see like Thunder Rosa's training as a luchador, as an MMA fighter that she is too, right? You could see that come out in her work. And Britt Baker
she was sloppy too, but
she was. Not saying that her moves were tight, but like
it's not a good pairing.
No. And like I said, that match that they had a year ago was so much better. So much better.
And I believe that. And a number. Okay.
Go on.
The referee work in this match was Vince Russo level of bad. Like the referee work and the interference in this match was like Vince Russo wrote this. It was so laughable. The fact that the referee standing right there turned around and doesn't hear what's happening, and the fans are freaking out. And you could and he got caught in a lot of WCW moments where he was looking at what was happening and
turned a blind eye. He didn't notice it.
It was too much for me. It was way too much. So much interference, just ridiculous.
Here's my situation with it, and this was the situation even when we talked about earlier with what she was refereeing the earlier match. It was the Jericho one. Like these two matches, the referee I feel like was actually a part of what made it bad, and at the same time, what was frustrating with me is because I was so happy when I first saw there was a female referee. I'm like, okay, they're doing different things, they're doing something awesome. I like that they're doing this. But then I felt guilty for not liking her because I felt like I was a bad person.
But I think it's her character that's bad. It's not that she's a bad ref.
No, she's a good ref. You're right. The ref is not supposed to be a character. The ref is supposed to not go. Is supposed to go
unless
unnoticed.
Your name is Earl Hebner. You're not supposed to be a character.
She literally had.
Well, her nickname is Girl Hebner. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So like she had like she was like about to wrestle herself. Like she was carrying Sherry type of like not as intense, but
Aubrey Edwards did wrestle for a bit.
But that's my point. The thing is when you guys were talking earlier, and I said like Chris Jericho match was the worst one. This was the one I was comparing it to, and I felt more because I did like Thunder Rose on this one. Thunder Rose, I like how she was as a thing, but then the whole thing with her Betty or what's her name? I got it here. I can't find her name anymore.
Which one? Rebel or
Rebel? That's what I'm saying. Rebel. When she kept interfering and everything, like
or my new girl,
Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
But like I said, this was the second match in my eyes that was the worst of the night. It was
it wasn't.
And I felt bad for saying that. And I think that's the reason why I put it a little bit higher than the other one, just because I felt like I was being bad. And like I said, Thunder Rosa, she was great, but everyone else took me out of the element.
I don't think this is the worst match of the night, but for two people at this level to give a match, especially that had this much action, to turn out the way that it did, and then end in a WCW way where it's interference.
Yes.
There's too much protection of her character, and I don't like it.
And that was something that I'm too familiar with, that I got bored with too. That's like, come on, that's already been done and everything. So,
Which character protection, once again.
Yeah,
exactly. Britt Baker goes over.
Yep.
She wins. She retains.
Yep.
That's all we need to say about that.
Thunder Rosa's so over, you need to give her the title.
Now it's time for me to explain how I constantly had to retype these names over and over again for myself. Go ahead.
So the next match we get into is Jon Moxley against Bryan Danielson.
No, you mean Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
This was literally CM Punk versus MJF without dog collars on. There was
another
a lot of action,
violent match.
And as skilled as Bryan Danielson is, Jon Moxley doesn't. It felt like the match we just watched, where he was trying to do skillful things, but Jon Moxley cannot do those things. So it ended up just them punching each other for the whole match.
This is another one that went long, like 22 minutes.
And it was way too long. But what a goddamn payoff! What a goddamn
payoff! The payoff was the best part. Sorry.
Yeah.
So my thing is that Campos, you're absolutely right. This is exactly just like CM Punk versus MJF. It being a storyline match. It was a setup for what
for a payoff
to come.
What the payoff was, I saw that, and guess what's going to happen? We're going to get an all British faction with William Regal leading it. They're going to get more members. I promise you, they're going to get somebody else on their team.
Yeah, and here's my prediction. Cesaro's going to be in that faction.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think. I'm going to love it.
Yeah. The goddamn William Regal face-to-face slaps. That was amazing.
I love that. I love that.
When he headbutts him.
Yo,
I think he did that on purpose because he knew the other guy was bleeding and he didn't want to get blood on himself, and he just did it just for shits and giggles to get blood on himself. That was probably the biggest pop of the night.
Yeah, and William Regal never ever thought in his life he was going to get a pop like that. I promise.
No, this is the guy. He's a good
wrestler.
He is. He's always been a great worker. He's always been a great enhancement guy. Always made the other guy look good. And this is also a guy who was saddled with really bad gimmicks. Remember, when he first was in WCW and he was Lord Steven Regal. And then he came over to WWF and he was like, he's a man.
That thing was dope.
But that right there was good.
Yeah, and as Lord Steven Regal, he schooled Goldberg. Sorry, Putty Man, but he schooled Goldberg. But anyway,
I did like the ending in this match. I like that reverse pin that he thought he had him in the choke, and then it ended up being a pin.
But that's the thing too. It was such a long match, and the way it ended was like, huh?
But I like the way that they subverted everyone's expectations, because everyone was like, whoa. And sometimes it's good. So
it was Moxley. Moxley beat Danielson.
You can't go full Russo and do that every match, but you can once in a while. It works.
Well, I'm going to say this. I wrote this down and I thought it was funny because throughout this match and everything, because these were probably one match where I knew both wrestlers. I'm familiar with their backgrounds, or at least the backgrounds in another company. But it's funny how I was invested in it because of that, because it gave me a little momentum, even though I felt it was just like it seemed like it was too long, and the payoff was true. But it's funny. I told myself, since they have the cards whenever they enter the ring, I could write down the names. I don't have to, and I had the names all written because I had all the lists and everything. But then when we got here, I actually had no idea who either one of these two people were by just the name when I looked them up. So when they came out and I saw that Brian Danielson was Daniel Bryan, I said to myself the whole night, I'm not going to Google anything. It's funny that I Googled this because I was like, which one is the real name?
And when Brian Danielson his real name?
Yeah.
So Brian Danielson's his real name, but when he went to WWE, he was forced to reverse it to Daniel Bryan, which I was like, what? So this whole time I thought his real name was Daniel Bryan, and literally his name was reversed the whole time. He's
Daniel.
Now I just learned that right now.
Yeah, I had to Google it, and that was funny how the two people I actually knew from another company. I said to myself, I'm not going to Google anything the whole night. I'm just going to enjoy it, so that way I don't have any backstory and see how it is. Yeah. And these were the two that I Googled because of his name, only his name.
He's a pretty skilled wrestler. John Moxley is a presence and a character. His character is amazing. His wrestling skills are very.
I like this version of him better, honestly.
I don't
mic skills though.
The
really good mic skills
other than the character. Yeah,
he has good mic skills.
The character is great, but like I watched a few matches and like I don't get the hype. Like he's never done anything that I was like. Wow,
and when his theme music plays, I just think of Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, it's also not a very. It doesn't go with his character.
Yeah,
but so neither does Daniel Bryanson, whatever the hell his name is.
Right.
His theme song is horrible.
I think it's a great one. I think it's a great theme song.
He always uses Ride of the Valkyries, though. Some form of Ride of the Valkyries.
But it's changed to that like weird ass like dance music pop song afterwards.
Which I'm cool with. But the rapping, I'm not too crazy.
Yeah, not a fan of the rapping.
I'm not a huge fan of that in general.
I think it's cool.
I don't want to talk about this.
All right. Moxley goes over, but the payoff with Steven Regal or William Regal at the end was just
William Regal. Yep.
Give me more of that. Give me more of that.
Yep.
Next match, you had the tornado tag match.
Okay, so
Darby Allen, Sammy Guevara, Sting against the Andrade Hardy family office.
I know Putty has.
What the hell is Sting thinking about?
I agree. Oh my God. Opening, okay, let's start at the beginning here. I know Putty has like 80 million notes for this.
I do.
That opening video was trash.
Yeah.
Like absolutely trash.
It's like, hi, I'm Darby Allen. Welcome to Jackass.
They should have all came out like when they finally grouped and came to the ring to Sting's music. I think Sting's video package and his music is so much more impactful than either of the other two.
Well,
yeah.
I want to jump in because I actually did make a note about Darby Allen. Since you guys talking before, I didn't know who he was. I just seen I think pictures that you guys showed.
Fantastic wrestler.
Yes. Oh, I agree. Here's the thing. I'm actually a huge fan, and I've done it in like my other talking about other videos. I even made a music video with some old cartoons. I love the old black and white cartoon feel. So when I saw Darby Allen's video intro and everything, I was like, this is up my alley. The way it ripped off the face, that appealed to me. So it kind of prepared me for what I might get with Darby Allen and Sting in that combination. Because I remember you saying it yourself, JD, that it's a combination that really works. That I think you said I would probably like it, right?
The Sting, the mentor, and
yes, and it really did. The thing is the way they worked, and Darby Allen.
It's Sting.
But Darby Allen, I will admit, even though I love Sting and I've been a fan for years, Darby Allen shined in this whole thing.
He's a great wrestler.
Even when he was part of the attack, like for example, when he was in the turnbuckle and he was in that, like when he was holding onto the rope and his legs were crossed to the top, and then he did that sidewalk slam straight down. That just, oh my God, little things like that were so amazing. But this is the match I was talking about before, because there was a point where one of the wrestlers, it was on the side of the rope, and they actually did a power bomb right on the side of the mat. So like half his body was outside the ring and the other half was literally on the side of the mat.
That's a move that he does a lot.
And see, the thing is,
Isaiah Cassidy, right? When they did that,
And that's what I'm saying. Even though I could tell that, hey, they had to have planned this because the guy wasn't that hurt afterwards. But that things like that look like that no matter in the position, you're going to feel some pain
because of the power bomb on the side of the
on the side of the ring. And there were again the thing I really will say, be honest with you, is I felt really uncomfortable with Matt Hardy. Like I feel like Matt Hardy
looked really stiff.
Yes.
And if you watched him move a few times, he looked like he was really struggling.
You know what he looks like? He looks like when he walks, he looks like Ozzy Osbourne when he does that.
Yes. He looks like he's had a lot of injuries. And
he's never fully healed from them.
As good as Sting looked in this match as well, there was a few moments where he was gassed and he literally couldn't go anymore.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
And I'm not talking about at the end of the match.
Yeah. Well, see, when I saw Sting walk out, you can tell, especially where he wears his clothes, he doesn't show his chest. He's got way more clothing.
Matt Hardy too.
They both do. But my point to the thing is, like, I saw Sting and I saw Matt Hardy, and they both had that look. Like that look of like, oh, we're old, but at least I will say Sting put a lot more effort. It seemed like Matt Hardy was just like, I feel like a bit when the camera panned off, he was grabbing some kind of cane in the corner. It was like, oh, and it was like
it's like Tommy Dreamer now too. He's very much like that.
Yeah, and I'll go even further with that. That it kind of felt weird at times. And I don't know when Sting went through the table, by the way,
yes.
he hit his
head. My God. See, I thought he died. 62 years old.
Yes.
He hit his head off the table. And when he was walking around dazed, I promise you he was really hurt.
Yeah, he was.
He got a concussion.
And remember that a few years ago, too, he did suffer that concussion against Seth Rollins when Rollins gave him that buckle bomb and basically ended his WWE career.
When they won the match at the end and they were standing around, he was stumbling, and that was real. That was not like a word.
And can we talk about that bruise on the back of Sammy Guevara's leg?
Can we talk about the bruise on all over friggin' Andrade? His whole body was like a purple bruise. What the hell was that?
And I find it funny too, because when both Matt Hardy, and I know this has nothing to do with wrestling, but it just brought a chuckle to me. When Matt Hardy and Sting went into the audience, like as a fan, I'm like, oh man, you got to be freaking out. And as I'm saying, you got to be freaking out, they go by a guy that's wearing a WCW t-shirt. I was like, oh my God. As a fan, I would be one of those guys freaking out. So
the fan interaction too there got, like, I'm going to tell you, there was a moment, and I know you both saw it, there was two little kids, and you could tell that Matt Hardy and Sting realized what it was, and we're like, we need to stop this little brawl thing that's happening and move away, because the mom was like trying to grab the kids and pull them over the seat to put them onto the other side. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're filming this. Like, somebody call it. Like I was
that's why the camera panned away and they kind of moved away from there.
Yeah, like they were like literally tiny little children. Why would you bring them to like a pay-per-view event for AEW is not like WWF. This is going to get like extremely out of hand.
Violent.
A big issue I had with this match were the spots. It was just big spot, big spot, big spot, big spot, big spot. There was no story to this match. Yeah, there was no real story to this. And okay, I have a few issues here. Obviously, you know I wrote notes. I've watched for a while, and it's not just because he's with my woman, but Sammy Guevara sucks. His character he's so bad.
Are you talking about his wrestling?
No, not really his wrestling.
Because his wrestling is really
good.
Damn good.
Yeah.
But hold on, listen to where I'm going here. It's the way. It's not his actual wrestling. It's the way he is as a wrestler. He was injured. He's just getting back up. He's no selling. He's smiling. I was like, look at everyone else in this match. They look like they're dying. This guy's on the thing, smiling, waving at people, and then he gets hurt, gets up, and then starts smiling again. And I was like, bro, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like you
need Sammy Guevara. He's another one. The talent is there. He just needs some work.
Yeah, his wrestling in terms of understanding how wrestling works, I don't think is very good.
The raw talent is there,
though. He did not fit in this match at all. And neither did Isaiah Cassidy. And that spot off the top, they both got hurt for sure, especially Isaiah. And another issue I had with the refs is because the refs were there, you could hear them calling spots on the floor. He's like, stay down, stay down. He's like, don't move. He's like, both of us just stay down. He's like, pretend you're hurt. You could hear them like talking because it's where the sound is like going off.
I'm sure that'll be on Botchamania.
No, for sure. You could hear for a while. It's going for like the whole match. You could hear the echo of them because they're on, what do they call it? The walkway. So they're echoing off the walkway, and the mics are picking it up. And it was like,
well, one thing I noticed.
Rough.
one thing I noticed that AEW does a lot that I noticed to this pay-per-view alone was they have a lot of smaller wrestlers that are about like being used for ragdoll situations. Like Darby Allen is a really good wrestler, but he was so good at also like taking blows, or like, for example, when they were throwing him around.
His specialty is getting beat up. He's like Macho Man. His specialty is taking a beating all match and then coming back at the end.
I noticed what they're doing, and I noticed what they did. Because, for example, when we get to the last match and then the end of the podcast, I got some stuff. I made notes about how I finally felt and some comparisons, all the stuff like that. But the one thing I wanted to point out was I noticed a lot of with AEW is they do have like the wrestlers that are like middleweight, but then they have the really lightweight characters that are fighting at a higher capacity because they can be thrown around, but at the same time they could do more athletically acrobatic stuff that makes it more visually appealing. You know, I mean, that's like I said earlier with what's his name, Orange Guy, whatever.
Orange guy.
Yeah,
freshly squeezed.
Yeah, freshly squeezed. Yeah, I actually put that there too. But my point is that, and I enjoy it. I feel like that was something that always kind of felt like when it came to WWE, even that it was missing because they always had to have these heavy hitters and then a few Rey Mysterios. AEW realizes even our small guys are really.
I mean, I think that's why even in WWE, I was drawn to a character like Santino.
Mm-hmm.
But they handle this a lot better. This is much more WCW-esque, where the mid card and the lower cards are handled very well, and they know who can wrestle. I have a question actually with this match. So, and I even wrote this down. Like the ending for it seemed very abrupt. Do you think they called this from behind the scenes, and were after they saw the head hit and the Simon Guevara?
I think this was called
end it.
Yeah,
because it ended this was so abruptly. The story didn't even go anywhere yet, and it was just like over. And
this was sandwiched between two 20-minute matches. I think this was scheduled to go 20 minutes as well, and they cut it out at about 12-13.
I think they also.
I don't think Sting could go.
Hurt.
Yeah, I don't think Sting or Matt Hardy could have gone anymore.
Who did he land on when he jumped off of it?
Off what, the tables?
Yeah, when he jumped over the side onto the table, Sting.
Oh, I gotta hear.
Andrade and I think it was both Andrade and.
No, it's just one person.
You could visibly see that people were hurt in this.
I think it was Andrade.
It was just Andrade. Yeah. The other person was that way.
100%. That coffin drop didn't even come close to hitting him.
He missed that coffin drop completely. Yep. And they replayed it too. That's the thing.
They replayed it twice.
Yeah, and they were trying to justify it. Oh, his head.
His head hit his
rib cage,
but they do a good job. The announce team is fantastic.
Yeah, they were able to cover it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Matt Hardy is so stiff. Like I don't know how this guy can.
Yeah, he moves like Ozzy Osbourne, the way Ozzy Osbourne moves.
Yeah, but you gotta understand that Matt Hardy has.
He's even got that crazy hair.
Yeah, he has been. But look at Christian.
But Matt Hardy has been involved in some crazy matches in his.
But so is Jericho.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing TLC matches.
No, but Edge was.
Christian looks amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, but Edge, I would have to say that Edge had a chance to recover.
Edge is broken as hell, man.
You know what I mean? Okay. But I'm going to say this. Darby Allen, the way he's going, is going to look like Matt Hardy in about 10 years.
He's not going to last very long.
He's not going to last very long.
But I'm going to say this right now. The thing is it's funny you guys mentioned Christian, because we actually didn't mention about Christian in that one match too much. And that was the one thing that fell short.
Didn't do much
as well. Well, yeah, that's my point. He was like there 1 second, and then I was like, when I saw him, I was like, wait, wasn't he in this match? And when I realized it was Christian as well, I was like, that's Christian. And then all of a sudden, he was not there. So I was afraid that whole thing was going to happen with Matt Hardy and Sting. And again, I now that we're getting out,
Sting broke a table with his head.
No, I get with Sting, but I'm saying that, you know, you could tell that they're getting old. Is what I'm saying. Sting,
yeah, I know, but you could see it. You could see. Like I said, it's nothing against. It's nothing against.
Izzo, sorry,
Sting's the grandfather.
It's nothing against how Sting was in the match, but you could see that these type of matches are not for him.
Yeah,
he needs quick matches or tag team matches in the ring. He doesn't needs to be doing hardcore matches.
No,
he broke a table with his head.
But I will say one. Oh, God.
This match should not have been on the pay-per-view. I'm gonna have to say that.
I don't think it was bad, but it didn't work.
No, but honestly, it did not serve the main event.
No, and the amount of main event wrestlers you had in this that potentially got hurt doing this is crazy.
This match I would have put in place of this match. This is where I would have put Jade Cargill and Tay Conti, just like that buffer match.
A quick little match right at the end, before the thing, and it would have worked a lot better. like I said, there was a few spots, like even the Guevara off the side thing there. They went way too far.
Yeah.
They went way over where they were supposed to land. And it was like a lot of the spots felt rushed. A lot of them felt planned on the fly. And like I said, I really do feel like producers in the back were like, end the match, someone's going to die. Like, just end the match.
Yeah.
But I want to say that. I want to say this. I was going to leave this for the end, but this is a perfect timing for this. One thing I noticed that AEW is doing good for someone like me that hasn't really been introduced to the wrestling is they're using these wrestlers I'm used to knowing in the past to introduce me to new wrestlers.
New generation.
That was the whole point of Sting. That's literally what he's there.
It's to get Darby over more than he is.
It won me over, even though there were some.
And that's why Hardy's there too. Hardy's there to get Private. Was it Private Party over?
Yeah,
well, Darby,
and that's the same thing. When CM Punk first came, they immediately put him with Sting and Darby for that quick little bit, and it was just to make sure he got over, to make sure everybody knew
Darby's. Yeah.
Guys, I'm cool with Sting being there to mentor Darby Allen and get.
Yes, he doesn't need to wrestle.
He doesn't need to wrestle.
I don't want to see his head going through a table.
Not at 62 years old.
Come on, man.
Watch the replay in slow motion. His head is what broke the table.
Yeah.
I like where I was watching this event, there was 4 of us. All 4 of us were like, "Oh, he's got to be dead," because he literally, his head went through 2 tables.
Like, his head went through 2 tables.
Like, yeah.
And it's funny going into this. I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna be so excited to see these wrestlers I grew up with and everything. And I
like this match.
I did too. Don't get me wrong. It's just Sting broke his table with his head.
But I find it funny that I came out like loving Jungle Express, loving Darby Allen, loving was it Keith
Lee?
Keith Lee, even of course Jade. These
Bearcat.
I would never be hooked up or anything like that, but now I'm fans and I want to see more.
He must be happy about that.
Okay, well, can we?
Here we are.
Can we go? Because like this, I don't.
This is going to be longer than the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
as long as the pay-per-view.
So here we are at the main event. Hangman Page versus Adam Cole, baby. Lackluster.
Honestly,
it was.
I liked it.
I think the match was fine, but the crowd was done.
Was dead by this point.
It was done too. But it was a good match.
It was a good match.
It was a good match. It was easily the cleanest and most professional match of the night. It was.
This was a wrestling match. This was a wrestling match in the true essence of the word.
Buddy,
I agree.
His finisher off the side of the thing, he hurt his leg, buddy.
The buckshot lariat.
When they showed the replay of him landing on his knee through the table, you could see he was like, "Oh fuck!" Oh man.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. Okay, again, this was another one of those things where it rubbed the gamer part of me properly because Adam Cole came out in the Spartan armor from Halo. Okay, here was the thing. I was like, okay, I understand that Hangman Adam Page is the
John Marsden.
Yeah,
cowboy shit.
Whatever. All my points was the cowboy shit, bye or whatever it is. I don't know.
Anyway. Baby's Adam Cole. Cowboy shit's Adam Page.
Adam Cole.
Okay, I had no idea. Okay, I had no idea. I messed it up.
Anyway. I love that. Like,
but I'm going to say this, and I know you guys are probably not going to like this comparison, but when I watched this match, this reminded me of well-telegraphed matches like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, where they just knew each other so well.
Mm-hmm. They have a history, these two.
Yes, this was a easily like a Jericho match from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yes,
but I will say this:
spot
I know everyone's for Hangman and Adam Page. I'm an Adam
not
Cole
that
fan.
match.
I
heard the boos.
I heard the boos too. They were all about Adam Cole in that match.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, he is over.
Yeah, I don't think that was planned.
Mr. Britt Baker.
I don't think that was planned, but I did enjoy the "Let's Go Adam" chants because it's just like
they're both Adams.
Yeah.
By the way,
pretty funny.
Does anybody know? Is it true? Did he actually knock out a tooth?
That I don't know.
That was gum.
Oh, was it? Because they said
they yelled that on purpose, but this was their fatal flaw of the scenario. They left it just sitting there, and you could see how long it was. And I was like, "That's not a tooth. That's gum."
Oh, dang. All right.
But that was meant to happen. That was a set spot for him to kick him and him to spit out the gum.
And going back to what I was saying too, where when I was watching it live, I fell asleep. But when I went back to watch it the next day, I'm like, yes, okay. This is
I rewatched this match.
It was, I did too. It was I fell asleep.
It was such a clean, well executed match. I would argue this is the best match.
But see,
I'd put it up there. Yeah. This one, we'll get into that after, but
I thought that if it wasn't for the match prior, the crowd would have been a lot more into this.
Let's be honest.
And this match would have probably been higher on my list.
From towards the end of the ladder match, except for a couple of spots like the entrances, all the way till this match, the crowd was dead.
I thought it was like midway through the CM Punk MJF match. From that point on, crowd was dead.
They came back to life for Regal.
Yes.
When Regal came out, he got a huge pop, and that's the biggest. Was what they call it, the LOD pop.
And some of the spots in that the match prior to this, which that's why I was saying before that match should not have been on the pay-per-view or somewhere else on the pay-per-view because it did not serve the main event. They could
have trimmed the fat off this card a bit. Like there were a couple matches that didn't need to be there.
Listen, the problem was they had to do Bryan and Moxley because it was built up to this, and they had to do the Regal thing. So that's why they did it. And because their lack of not consistency, the amount of pay-per-views they have a year is very small.
So I was going to say, I don't
had to do it now.
Yeah.
Now, I want to make a note about something. When it comes to wrestling in general, when we watch it, we can tell things like that would not happen in real life. Momentum would not make a person run, against ropes. But this is the prime example of what I was talking about earlier and why certain things take me out, and this worked for me. Remember how I talked about Eddie Kingston's stretch plum earlier? It just took me out of the element because it just didn't feel real. Another thing when it comes to making moves look real, even if they aren't, or you could tell they're not real, is how you execute them. And prime example is how Hangman did his whole what is it called right here, the buckshot, where he comes off the rope and the pulls. Even though you look at that, you go, dude, that would not give you more momentum, but how he sells it gets you into it. You know what I'm saying? And you see why the whole stretch plum earlier bothered me so much is because when you watch something like that, the execution, if both people don't know how to make it look real, it takes you out of it. And this is a prime example of two people that understand what their moveset is, and they understand how to execute it. And that's the reason why, even though I was in my order, as a wrestling fan, I could already tell when someone's just not comfortable with a certain move. That makes sense. Yeah. I just had to point that out because I made a note of that, and I'm like, I don't think people are going to realize why both are fake, but this is better. Now, I do want to ask you this: Red Dragon ran out to distract Paige at one point. Is there like a history with that? Because then I heard them say that this Deadeye
they're with they were
Red Dragon or with Adam Cole. They were in WWE and NXT as the Undisputed Era as well.
And they were.
So I didn't know about that.
It's like Kenny Omega and him have that finisher that they do together. Him and Hangman.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like a double knee, one to the face and one to the back.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because
Adam Page and Kenny Omega were tag champs for a while.
Well, see, I noticed Red Dragon kind of did the same thing on Jungle Boy earlier in his match, where they actually did that whole thing where one was going one above, one below, and it was so fluid and beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll admit AEW has a lot of wrestlers that just know how to work with each other, whether it's going against each other or working with each other. That even the days of WCW, there were a lot of people that just understand.
They know how to utilize talents in terms of like mid cards, lower mid cards. They know how to utilize their talents.
That's what the power was here. Like, I hate to put it this way, even though I love like wrestlers like Sting, Chris Jericho. It's so weird that the people I came to see were the least enjoyable outside of Sting putting himself through all that, were the least enjoyable compared to the younger bucks that even
younger bucks.
The younger Bucks. Just the Bucks younger than the young Bucks. The younger Bucks.
Yeah, it's a new team.
Tell all the people commenting on this video how many times, the amount of times a Putty man butchers their name. Take a shot.
Take a shot.
That's a game.
Yeah, but again, it's my first time in this rodeo, and I enjoyed it. I'm glad I enjoyed it. And which when we finally go to summing up and everything, I can explain a few things I loved about it that was different.
Yeah. Hangman Page goes over. I think it needed to go over. He needed to go over. He needs to continue his run as champ to solidify himself.
It's short. Yeah, it's still a short run, man.
And Adam Cole is over enough that he doesn't need a belt on him right now.
He'll probably get it eventually, though.
Eventually, yeah. But there's so many ways they can go with this.
they definitely need a women's tag belt, and they definitely need another men's singles belt.
Yeah, something with a little bit more prestige than that championship named after a television station.
They need another show because this roster.
Well, they do now. They have Ring of Honor. Now they have Ring of Honor.
Yes, and they have to properly separate the companies so that at least some of the talent actually goes to it.
Well, it'll be. I'm telling you, it's going to be like the way WWE was with NXT. NXT was its own thing, and it was thriving for a while under Triple H. And I think with Regal there, he knows how to do that, and I think he's going to lead this.
It doesn't, but it needs to be done in a way where they have stars too. It can't just be like people that are going to eventually transfer over to the other thing. I
think it's going to be. I think he's going to start with the foundation of Mox and Bryan Danielson and work from there.
Yeah, and like you said, I think maybe Adam Cole's going to go there, or someone else is going to go there as well. But I mean,
yeah, and that's the end of the show. What'd you guys like overall? What'd you guys think?
Match of the night.
What was match of the night? Okay, let's start with that. Let's start since you mentioned the Caps. Let's go with your match of the night.
Young Bucks.
Campo.
The Younger Bucks?
The Younger Bucks?
Honestly, I think the Hangman Page and Adam Cole was the best match in terms of like just the way it went. But like there's some really good spots in that match. That's pretty close. That's a pretty close second. Worst match, CM Punk. And maybe Tay Conti.
Tay Conti. Putty.
It's the tornado, the Jurassic Express. I became a huge fan. I love it.
Yeah. I was kind of torn too, but I would have to go with the Jurassic Express match as well as my match of the night. I had to, but like I said, rewatching that Cole Page match, that came so damn close.
It's only because it's so perfectly executed.
Yeah, it was a classic wrestling match in the true sense of wrestling matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my opinion might change if I go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, watch
just the match, not the whole pay-per-view. But
no, I don't think I could. No,
they need to really. I know they don't do them that often, but they need to chill for the length. Like that's
but I think that's why there's so much in that in those pay-per-views because they only do about 4 a year.
And thank God Cody Rhodes is not with the company anymore, or else he would have taken up half the time.
Yeah.
Now I know for me going into this and everything, and again I wrote these notes at the end. One thing is I love how they use the old wrestlers to introduce us to the new wrestlers. It really worked for someone like me. Another thing is they freaking had 3 video game references, even though I had one, which is of course the Halo Master Chief armor, the Mortal Kombat should wear a complete Jade outfit, and of course the Sonic ring. I don't care if there was a brass ring, that was a Sonic ring. It looked like
I said that to myself every time too.
The Sonic ring. It totally. Yes. It's supposed to be a play on a few years ago when Vince McMahon said on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, nobody ever grabs that brass ring, and Cesaro said that's because it doesn't exist.
And then they made it exist,
they literally made a brass ring.
But then the other thing is that maybe I never noticed this in WWE or WCW, and I just wasn't paying attention when I was younger. But what I loved was something so simple that I never noticed until now, and that was the stats information when the wrestlers came in. They show the wins and losses. Like it felt like it
used to be only yearly, but now it seems like a lot of them have all time.
See, but that's what I'm saying. I love seeing something as simple as that, and that's because it made it more. I know it's sports entertainment, or at least what they say in WWE. But my thing is it gave it more of a sports feel. Like it gave me data that as a fan of wrestling,
if they have rankings.
Exactly. And that really pushed me in to stop, pause, write the person's name down and go, oh, they won this many matches.
Well, that's the thing. Dante Martin, who just faced Adam Page on this past Dynamite, he was like 8-1 or something like that. And he was the number 2 ranked wrestler. So he gets the title shot. Like it makes sense. Like they said, like when the company started, wins and losses matter here.
Yeah. Mr. Sky Blue.
Yeah. Mr. Sky Blue.
But I noticed that
Mr. Blue Sky,
and that's something as a wrestling fan for years. Like even though I'm a huge Goldberg fan, they broke up the record so much. There were so many numbers added to the records.
He started already at like 400.
I know.
400.
But
he was the 401.
But my principal thing was it was a nice difference, and that's what a lot of these little changes that for someone like me that got really bored of wrestling. You guys constantly told me, hey, Putty, you need to watch AEW. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And you guys were right. It did something that brought back the old-fashioned stuff I love, but then also brought fresh new things that no other wrestling company's done, and brought in a way that works with its environment. And that's the thing that I'll think of. But even like, like ECW and even other places like TNA that, that
it reminds me of those early days of, not early days, but right when WCW was gaining that steam, right when they started, like, really.
That's what I'm saying. And they have the exact type of roster for the same thing. They're full of talent. I would have loved an EC dub chant during this thing, but
well, there were so many chants that were so great in that situation. Like again,
right at the beginning, when they were calling "fuck 'em up, Kingston, fuck 'em up."
Well, there was
when they were like Eddie Kingston, Jericho. Like, it's like they literally cheer for everybody, man.
Yeah.
There's no one that people don't like.
And the singing,
that's the environment you want.
Songs.
That's the environment you want to have for wrestling. That gets me hyped to watch wrestling. I'm here for the athleticism of it, right?
Yeah.
Putty's like the aesthetic guy, and you two are like the whole total package guys that want like everything about it.
Well,
that's good, Putty. That's your thing, man. It's cool.
It is. That's what
wrestling.
I don't know. I get it, but I want to say something about my coworker said it best. A guy I work with, Matthew. He said that watching AEW makes you excited to be a wrestling fan again. It brings back that feeling as a kid, like, you know what I mean? Like, that excitement is coming back, kind of thing. Whereas it was gone for a while, and I think it just proves that competition is good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Give it a rating. Out of 10.
7.
I would agree.
Okay.
6.5, 7.
For me, since it's my first one, I'll give it. I don't know. I guess I'm 7 too. 7.5.
It was good, but it was nothing special.
It was a 7.5. It was, for me, it was a 7, and I'll give it a 7.5 because I enjoyed it. Like, if I didn't fall asleep at the end, I probably would have.
Time. It just was too long.
It was too long. A couple Caps, you said it too. A couple filler matches that should not have been there.
Yeah.
It was only because it had a title involved. That's the only reason those matches were there.
Yeah, the Tay Conti match should not have been on there.
No, that Tay Conti match, it's like the old WCW TV title. It doesn't need to be defended on the pay-per-view. Just do it on the TV, weekly TV.
Yes, and for a long time, WCW never even talked about the TV title.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say, you know how I said, I'm glad I watched the pre-show before the whole Jericho thing happened? That's because that match between House of Black and Death Triangle, I actually enjoyed it for my introduction.
It was a good match.
But that Penta L Zero, I think it is. I'm not pronouncing him. He's not that great wrestler, but his appearance and the way he looks is just awesome. You know what I mean? So
him and his brother Ray Phoenix, like some of their matches, like the Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks.
Really?
Go watch that one.
That's actually an amazing match. And they're not, it's funny because they're not like very fit guys. And for the moves that they do, it's
okay.
insane.
Ray Phoenix is. Penta is not.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can tell Penta's like got some.
But like when you see him work, it's like, how is he doing this?
Yeah, but Pac, like former Aaron Neville in WWE, like this guy is something too. Like,
yeah, WWE squanders talent. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Pac is the Cesaro of AEW, man.
Which Cesaro will soon be the Cesaro.
I think Cesaro will be in that faction. I think
I think he's going to be in that. Yeah, that whole Ring of Honor thing. Yeah, Cesaro's going to get a good push.
No.
But closing thoughts. Anything else you guys need to add? Campbell's giving the wrap it up sign.
Actually, I'll do Macho Man, but I'll do it.
I like AEW. Only flaw is at least WWE is on streaming services. They need to put AEW on streaming services.
That's the reason why they bought Ring of Honor. Trust me, it's going to be coming to like an HBO Max or something. It's coming.
That's what we need, because if I'm going to watch it, I don't want to have to keep on looking up bootleg craps. I want to be able to see
all their stuff you can find on YouTube. It's pretty easy to find.
Yeah, they post all their stuff next day on YouTube.
I'd rather see the full event and scenes instead of pieces. I just want to be able to sit down and watch it like I used to.
Well, if you have TBS, You can watch Dynamite.
We have no cable. All we have is
nobody has cable anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So we have
like I mean, people do obviously, but
I thought down there TBS is like our CBC. It's on everything.
Nope.
No, maybe in Atlanta.
All right. On that note, guys, if you stuck around this long, thank you. This podcast was just as long as the pay-per-view. It may be broken up. We'll see if we need to break this episode up.
We might have to break it up.
But
I think
guess
we
what?
might.
You didn't have to pay $50 for it, even though I didn't pay $50 for it either. You don't have to either.
I did. I actually paid for the pay-per-view.
That guy did.
I always pay for things. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see y'all next time.